I'm joined by infectious disease specialist and medical microbiologist Dr. Donald Vinh. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Alyssia.
I want to know what your first reaction is about Quebec's back to school plan. Masks won't be required in classrooms for students and bubbles will be removed. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that. I would think that with the fact that we have a huge population that's unvaccinated and therefore unprotected, with the introduction of the Delta variant, I would have thought or appreciated that we would have taken more precautions and erred on the side of being more cautious by actually having bubbles and having masks at least at the start of the school year and then seeing where we go from there rather than the other way around.
How would you then judge this plan? Because Quebec is calling it prudent, but obviously many are saying it doesn't go far enough. Would you say that it is prudent in some way, keeping masks, mandatory in hallways, common areas? Or is it just going to lead to adjustments and more measures to react to a fourth wave in the fall?
It certainly can be described by a lot of things, and I can understand Ministre Auberge and his public health advisors giving him advice, but I'm not sure the word would be prudent. I mean, if you look at what's being recommended, it's masks in the hallways, masks on the school buses, but when you're in a poorly ventilated area with a large number of students with you, no masks. So I'm not sure that I would use this prudent. I would have appreciated if there were masks and bubbles, again, starting at the school year.
Now, the government said CO2 detectors are expected to be installed from September to December. What are the benefits of a CO2 detector in a classroom, and what kind of action can be taken from the information that is drawn from it?
That it's supposed to be a measure of how often the air is, recirculated into a room. Of course, knowing that the more that an air that the air is ventilated, the cleaner, if you will, it is for the people who are in the room. It's a little bit disappointing that the implementation of that plan hasn't started. It would have been ideal to have done it at the end of the last school year and during the summer rather than at the start of the school year in the absence of masks and bubbles. Now we also have an absence of air monitoring system, and we also don't have any improvement in the ventilation. So it's almost as if the government has continued their measures from the last school cycle, but in fact have loosened it as well. So they have not improved it; they have just continued it with more loosened measures, and it's a bit perplexing. And I certainly hope it doesn't lead to any problems in the fall.
In a nutshell, Dr. Vinh, where do we go from here? What do you say to students, parents, and teachers who are worried about this back to school?
Well, I think there's a difference between what the government is mandating and what people are allowed to do. The government is not mandating bubbles and is not mandating masks. However, students, parents, schools, teachers, they have, of course, the capacity for intellectual thought, and they can make those decisions as well.
Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Vinh.
Thank you, Alicia, for having me.